All right, welcome back. We are back on our virtual bus tour. We have been to Savannah today, and now we're all the way back in Carrollton, Georgia, at the University of West Georgia. So I am now going to turn it over to Miss Teresa Gonzalez, who's going to share information about going west. Go Wolves!
Yes, go Wolves. Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining this evening. My name is Teresa Gonzalez, and I'm going to be presenting about the University of West Georgia. So just a little bit about me. I also graduated from UWG December 2018 with a Bachelor of Sociology. So I can kind of tell you my student experience here. So we're going to go ahead and get started. It might take it a little second to switch over slides. Here we go. So first slide would be quick facts. So the University of West Georgia is a public institution. Our population is about 13,000, so we're medium sized. Our campus in total is about 645 acres. I promise you, you're never going to have to walk all of that at once. This largely includes our athletics complex building and our football stadium. We also have shuttle buses that take you around the campus. So if you have a class on one end of the campus and your other class on the other end, you don't have to worry about, rushing to that class. You can always hop on the bus and be there, in no time. Our average classroom size is about 24 people, so kind of what you're used to now. And our student to professor ratio is about 18-1, which is great because your professor is going to know who you are. You are going to be able to build those relationships with your professors, but with also your peers. Because of this small classroom size, I would recommend, going to talk to your professors during office hours. And office hours are just a time where the professor's in their office. You don't need an appointment. You can just walk in. You can talk to them about the class if you're struggling with the material, if you just need some guidance. So that's a great resources to have. Of course, this 24 average classroom size can be bigger your freshman year just because everybody's trying to get their core out of the way. But once you move up, that 24 is the average classroom size. It can be lower than that as you move up, your sophomore, junior, senior year, depending on what major you're in. I do know people who were chemistry majors and their average classroom was about 12 people. So that number can fluctuate. But once you're sophomore, junior, senior, it never really goes above that 24 number. So locations, we have two locations, but our main location is Carrollton, Georgia. This is a residential campus. So we do have resident halls. You can, live here in a dorm. It's about 45 minutes from Atlanta. So you're not going to be stuck in that Atlanta traffic. But, the city is right around the corner if you want to go escape there for a little bit. We do have an 18-mile Greenbelt Trail through campus. It also goes around Carrollton, so around the town. It's a great, environmental place. A lot of people go on walks there. They walk their dog. They ride up the bike. We have a great relationship with the community. They all rally behind our sport teams, especially when we have home games. Another highlight about our relationship with the community is a lot of local restaurants will have discounts for students. All you have to do is kind of show your student ID if they are offering that discount. And I think that's a really great perk and benefit of the relationship that we do have with the community. Our second location is Noonan, Georgia. It's about 40 miles from Atlanta. This is not a residential campus. We don't have residential halls here. You can't have a dorm here. You can do all of your core as well as a few of our majors here, such as nursing and education. One cool fact about our Noonan campus is that, I don't know if you guys are familiar with The Walking Dead, but that first episode when that main character wakes up in the hospital, that was actually filmed in our Noonan Center, which is pretty cool. But besides these two locations, we do have online options if that's something that you're looking for and that's something that you're more comfortable with. We do have something called e-core, which means you can do all of your core online. But I do want to stop here and ask if anybody has any questions. You can feel free to unmute yourselves, or we can wait until the end. For academics, we do have over 90-degree programs, about 6 academic colleges. These colleges just means that whatever major you're in, they kind of go under the category of a college. For example, College of Arts, Culture, and Scientific Inquiry, you would find your theater, your foreign language, your English under there. course, College of Education would include everything related to education as well as speech language pathology. Richards College of Business would include everything business related, marketing, management, things like that. Tanner Health System School of Nursing, of course, would be nursing. We also have Honors College and University College. University College would just be your interdisciplinary studies. But then our most popular academics would be biology, and you can find our pre-professional tracks there, such as pre-medical, pre-dental, pre-physical therapy, pre-veterinary, and of course we do have more, but that's just to name a few. Nursing is really popular, psychology, education, management, marketing, mass communication, and criminology. We're very hands-on here at the University of West Georgia, so you are going to be working with the equipment, the technology, basically everything that you're going to need to know once you graduate and start your career. We do this because we want you to be well prepared. Just a few examples I would like to mention. For example, nursing, we do have high-tech functioning mannequins. These mannequins, they bleed, they give birth, they have seizures, they have heart attacks, kind of what the human body can do, again, to stimulate that. And so you can know what to do in those situations. If you do our nursing program, it is 100% job placement because we do have partnerships with local hospitals. But this is not just for nursing. We have partnerships with local companies such as Southwire, which is the largest producer of wire in North America. I know that may not sound very interesting, but they do have a lot of internship opportunities for students, and oftentimes they are paid. So this is a good way to network and build your resume. But we also have partnerships with companies in Atlanta as well. So you kind of have those two options. Another example of hands-on is in our education department. We do have something like a stimulation lab. You put on these cool glasses. And if, for example, if you're studying education, it could be like you're in the classroom or in a parent-teacher conference, and they do have avatars played by people. So it is very interactive. If your shoelace is untied, they're going to let you know. If you sound a little hoarse because you're sick, the student could mention that. So it is very interactive, again, to put you in those situations so you can be well prepared when you graduate. Another example would be our mass communication department. We do have a radio station on campus completely run by students, and we also have a television production that students can be a part of as well. I would encourage everybody to look at all of the degrees and programs that the universities are offering, just because you want to make sure that you like more than one thing. Always keep in mind, you can always double major, get a minor. That's also an opportunity and a possibility. For the University of West Georgia itself, another reason why I encourage talking to professors is because at West Georgia, your professors are not only your professors, but they're also working professionals. I know we do have a professor in the theater department who actually was working on the set of The Walking Dead. I believe he was doing special effect makeup. So again, make sure that you talk to your professors, whether you go to West Georgia or a different institution. I always think that's important. If anybody has a specific major that they want to go into, we can always talk more in detail about that as well. And I can always send you more information separately in an email with kind of the courses and the overview and just a more detailed kind of report on that major. Does anybody have questions about academics? And again, when I went to West Georgia, I kind of switched my major, so it's totally fine if you switch majors. That's why I encourage you looking at kind of each academic program. First, I was studying mass communication, and because we are very hands-on, I was working with the cameras, with editing, with the lighting, and I got to see for myself what it would be like. I found out, that it was great, but I couldn't envision myself working in this field when I graduated. So I switched over to sociology, which I think that's great for West Georgia, the fact that we do give you that hands-on opportunity. For living on campus, we do require our residential freshmen to live on campus. We do have 8 housing facilities, and one of them is actually new. It's brand new. It's going to be this fall, 2021. It's actually a pet-friendly resident hall. So if you have a cat or a dog and you want to bring them along, you just apply to that specific housing that's pet friendly, and then you can bring them over. But our housing facilities do range between traditional, suite style, and apartment style. So for freshmen, you're allowed to be in traditional style and suite style. So traditional style is you share a room with your roommate, and then your whole hallway will share their bathroom. I don't want this to scare you, but you don't have to clean the bathroom, and you also don't provide your own toilet paper because it is communal. The second one would be suite style. So suite style is you share a room with a roommate and you both share the bathroom. The bathroom will be in your room. Within suite style, they also have a single occupant rooms as well. So if you don't want to have a roommate, that's definitely a possibility in suite style. And then lastly, apartment style, that's not open for freshmen, but once you're sophomore, junior, senior, you can do apartment style. And it's like an apartment. All you have to share is the kitchen and the living room, but you'll have your own room and your own bathroom. All of our housing facilities are centrally located, so they're going to be close to dining halls and your classes as well. So each housing facility will have a laundry room, and it's completely free to do laundry here, which is great. They'll have a study room. They'll kind of have like a movie room. So there's like a big TV, couches, all that fun stuff. We also have something called an RA, which is a student in each hall that's designated to help you with any problem that you may have, kind of resolve any issues. And they're basically there to guide you throughout your first year. So each RA will be in each hallway, and they're kind of assigned to the hallways as well. So that's very helpful. Again, one thing that's important to note is that University of West Georgia does allow our freshmen to have cars on campus, which is important because not all universities allow freshmen to have cars, but we do. And again, if you don't have a car, it's okay. I didn't have a car my first year. We do have shuttle buses that'll take you into town to get groceries, which I think that's super great. There's not a separate ticket that you purchase for that. It all comes with tuition and fees. So we do have those two types of buses. So ones that take you around campus, but the other one that'll take you into town as well. If you know somebody who's also going to West Georgia and you want to room together on the housing application, all you do is request each other and they'll kind of put you in. If not, it's okay. There is a survey that you fill out and they ask you different questions, kind of what kind of music you like to listen to. Are you a morning person? Are you not a morning person? Just different things, because they do like to pair you up there, just to make sure you share some similarities and characteristics, kind of interests, and things like that will make your experience a lot better. But if anybody has any housing questions, right now would be a good time. If not, okay. And this is just kind of an example of what it looks like up close. This building right here is called Centerpoint Suites. That's kind of an example of what our resident halls look like. And then right here is kind of an outside area, so you can do a barbecue. It's free. You can just hang out with your friends here if you want to do a barbecue and hang out. I believe each of the housing facilities would have this outside area as well. For dining, so I know if you're spending a lot of time at the university, you're going to be asking, what is there to eat? And one thing I forgot to mention about the housing facilities is that they will have a kitchen on kind of one side of the building. So on this side of the building, they'll have one. On the other side of the building, they'll have like a kitchen that you can share with kind of that side of the building. But again, besides that, we do have two dining hall facilities. One is called Z6. It's located on the west side of campus. They sell kind of traditional food here. So that would be like your Southern comfort food. We do have something famous called Fried Chicken Wednesdays, which is really great. And then we do have East Commons, which is located on the east side of campus. They have a hibachi grill, and both of these are buffet style. And depending on what meal plan you get will depend on the meal swipes you get for each. But besides that, we do have a few grab and go places such as Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, and Heavenly Bowls. Heavenly Bowls is kind of like a healthy alternative. They do have fruit and granola there. That's not all that we have. We do have something called Market Fresh Deli, which is kind of like a Subway. We do have sushi, pizza, and things like that on campus. But if you're looking for kind of outside food as well, right across the street from campus, we do have a McDonald's, we have a Domino's, and we have a few Mexican restaurants as well. Again, as I mentioned previously, we do have a great relationship with the community, and a lot of the local restaurants will give you a discount. But besides that, we do have something called dining dollars, which they're non-taxable, and you can use them kind of at Chick-fil-A, Starbucks, and Heavenly Bowls, kind of like the dining on campus. They're in $50 increments, so you can kind of add them to whichever meal plan. So if you buy one meal plan and it doesn't come with the dining dollars, you can always add that on as well. And now we do have a non-contact option. So you can order from an app, I believe, and go pick up your food if you don't want to be around others. So that's definitely an option as well. So student involvement, this is kind of what encompasses your experience at a university besides the academics. So for West Georgia, we do have about 1,600 plus internship opportunities for students. Again, this is because we do have relationships with local companies, local schools, but also companies in Atlanta. Again, talking to professors is important because oftentimes they will be the first ones to know about an internship, and you want to make sure that you're one of the first to apply as well. Besides that, we do have about 160 plus student organizations. These organizations, they range between volunteer organizations, organizations for your hobbies, organizations for minorities. There's just different kinds. But the cool thing about us is that if you're looking at the list and you wish there was an organization there, you can always create your own. All you need is about 3 friends who are interested in the same thing and 1 mentor, which will be a faculty or staff member, and you can create your own. We've had many students in the past creating their own organizations, which is great. Also, being a part of organization, you meet more people, especially if you're not familiar with the area, if you're not from, let's say, Carrollton, for example. So it's a great way to meet friends. It's also a great way to build your resume. So each organization is going to have a president, vice president, a fundraising chair, a social media chair, for example. And if those positions are open, you can always apply for them and have that opportunity there as well. We also have about 50 plus UREC activities, so intramural sports. So if you're looking to play sports, not part of the official UWG sport teams, but just for fun, we have that opportunity as well. You can create a team with your friends and then just play with other teams that were created with friends and then play each other. We do have a gym on campus, 2-floor state-of-the-art equipment. We have exercise classes. We do have a rock climbing wall. I've never been on the rock climbing wall, but I know a lot of students like it. I'm actually afraid of heights, so that's why I've never been on it. We also have a game room on campus. The game room, it has pool, air hockey, video games, just to name a few things. So there's definitely a lot to do here. We also have about 25 fraternities and sororities, so that's something that you're interested in getting involved with. About 14 sports teams as well. We're NCAA Division II in sports. So if that's something you're interested in, we definitely have that opportunity. There is a form on our website if you want to play a sport. It is called a prospecting athlete form, and just fill that out, and you can also contact the coaches. But just to name a few sports, we do have cheerleading, football, golf, baseball, basketball. And again, we have 14, but that's just a few. And we've won about 24 national championships overall. Fun fact, cheerleading actually has won the most national championships. They're very good. I would encourage, checking out our cheerleading team if you are interested in doing cheerleading. Besides that, we do have about 35 plus study abroad programs. And study abroad is when you go to another country, you study there for a period of time. It could be 1 week, 1 semester, 1 year. It's kind of up to the program that you apply for, and you earn credits for your major. So I actually did this. I studied abroad for about 5 months in Australia during my senior year. They typically recommend you to do it your sophomore or your junior year, but I kind of decided last minute. So that's why I recommend your sophomore or junior year. But again, it's a great experience. You get to learn a lot about yourself, a lot about another country, being immersed in other cultures, kind of what it's like to be in university in a different country and how they run things. So it's very educational. It's something I always promote, something I encourage students to do. Our study abroad office does offer scholarships, so there is funding opportunities. And apart from that, any financial aid that you receive beforehand can always be applied for study abroad as well. Does anybody have questions about student involvement? I know it's kind of a lot of information, but there's definitely a lot of things to do here. So definitely something for everybody. And, whichever involvement you do, it's really great to meet people, also network and build your resume. For affordability, I know this is always on our minds when deciding which institution to enter, but for us, we do offer last year about 3.0 million in scholarships. You do have to be an accepted student at UWG before you can apply for scholarships. It's just one application form. you fill it out and then we pair you up to the ones that you're eligible for. We do have about 300 plus scholarships here at West Georgia. And if you want to kind of look at all the lists of scholarships that we offer, you can go to this website down here, westga.edu/scholarships. So our loose scholarship deadline is always February 1st. And what I mean by loose, I mean that any scholarship that requires an interview, they require the application to be in by February 1st. So that means that any of these scholarships that don't require interview, it doesn't matter if February 1st, if you pass that date, I always encourage students to apply anyway. We do award over the spring and over the summer as well. So there's definitely possibilities there. Since we are a public institution, we do take FAFSA, and FAFSA is Hope, Pell Grant, Zell Miller. Last year, we did award about 126 plus million in financial aid. So I do encourage you to apply for FAFSA as soon as possible. You don't have to be accepted to an institution or already know which institution that you're going to be attending in order for you to apply for FAFSA. But besides that, we do have about 2,000 plus jobs on campus for students, which is great. They work with your schedule. So there's only a specific amount of hours that you can work as a student because they do understand that you're a student first. So I do encourage getting jobs on campus if that's something that you're interested in. Anytime we have an open student position, we do have it on our website. So you'll be able to look at the database and see kind of which positions are open. It's a great way to network and meet people as well, because you can also work in the department where your major is in, depending if there's a position open there. I know the total price is not here, but I'm going to kind of let you know what the breakdown would be. But for one semester, and this is going to include everything: tuition, housing, fees, meal plan. The total number without including financial aid is about 9,700 roughly per semester. But once you apply any financial aid, any scholarships, that number of course goes down, and that is based on a full-time student. As I mentioned, keep in mind it does include tuition, fees, books, meal plan, just basically all of the costs. Does anybody have questions about affordability?
So freshmen are required to have a meal plan.
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. There are some exceptions. So some exceptions to the housing and the meal plan would be if you live within a pre-approved zip code, and those zip codes are also on the housing web page. If you live with a parent or guardian with a pre-approved zip code, then you don't have to live on campus. You don't have to have a meal plan. If you're over the age of 21 or 21 and older, if you have kids, if you're married, you can be exempt from these. And of course, that's just a few exemptions. We do have more, but they would be on the housing webpage.
So is there a selection, is there a specific package that is required as a freshman? So say for instance, I've attended the first year and then I come back my sophomore year, second year. Will I still be required to have that same freshman package, or can I pick something a little bit less expensive?
Yes, ma'am. It's just your freshman year. After your first year, you're not required to live on campus. You're not required to have a meal plan, and you can kind of pick and choose. And it's not limited to freshmen either. So if you're a junior, for example, and you want a meal plan, you can definitely do that. Is there any more questions about anything that we talked to so far? So our next one would be deadlines and requirements. So for this fall 2021, we are test optional. So we're not requiring the SAT scores. We're not requiring the ACT scores, sorry. What we're looking for is a minimum academic GPA of a 2.6, which means we look at your core classes, so your math, your science, your social study, your English, and your foreign language. So it's pretty straightforward. You just apply directly on our website at westga.edu/beginwest, and I'm going to have that on another slide. So once we have your application, once we have your transcripts, it will take us about 3 to 5 business days to process that. We've actually extended our deadline for this fall 2021 to July 16th. So you still have some time there, but typically our application deadline is June 1st. Again, the scholarship deadline would be February 1st, but that's just the loose deadline. Typically, though, next year, we are going to go back to our regular requirements. which will be test scores. We don't have a specific GPA that we look for, but there is a calculation and that we look for, and the freshman index would be about a 2120. And we're also on Georgia Futures if you want to apply through there, but the fastest way would be applying directly on our website. We do accept fee waivers. So if you do qualify for a fee waiver, we'll be more than happy to take that in place of the fee. But if you are applying with a fee waiver, you do have to apply directly on our website. For some reason, Georgia Futures will not send us your application without a fee attached to it. Is there any questions about this? And that was kind of the freshman undergraduate requirements.
So you said the deadline for admission for the fall is June 1st. Is there a rolling, excuse me, a rolling admission, or is that a hard, fast cutoff for this coming fall?
So for this coming fall, we've actually extended it to July 16th. But typically our usual deadline would be June 1st. And it depends. Sometimes it is a little bit flexible. Sometimes it is harder, but we have extended it this year to July 16th. Is there any questions about deadlines, requirements?
I have one more question about the scholarships. You said that there's a loose deadline of the fall. When does that application portal open?
I believe it opens in the fall, so it should be, I believe, around September.
Okay, thank you.
So this line is just about coming to visit us if you would like, if there's anything I said that, pique your interest. But we do have two forms of tours. So we do have virtual tour options if that's something that you're more comfortable with. It has like an interactive map and things like that. But we also have on-campus tour options. We also have some tours on Saturdays. But you would just need to go to westga.edu/admissions to register for a tour. And again, it's a great way to see the university for yourself, whether that's West Georgia, whether that's another institution. I always encourage you to look at every institution and visit every institution that you're interested in. And lastly, here's just my contact information. My name is Teresa Gonzalez. Here's my email. I also included the email address for the office. That's also another email that you could use. And then our office number as well. And then down here, I did add kind of where you can start your application. It's just westga.edu/beginwest. That's all I have. And do you guys have any questions for me?
I have one quick question. I don't know if you can answer that. Do you know if West Georgia has a lacrosse team for boys or girls or both?
No, ma'am, we do not have a lacrosse team.
Thank you.
Is there any more questions? And again, if you can't think of any right now, it's okay. If you think about one tomorrow, you can always email me as well, and I'll help you out.
I don't see any questions in the chat box right now either.
Can you hear me? I believe you froze, or maybe it's mine. Are we back? I wasn't sure if it was my connection or
It may have been my connection. We've had bad. And okay, I didn't know if you could. I want to thank you for taking time to come to us today. We do have your information, and if there are any other questions that may surface from any of the students, we'll be sure to shoot those over to you. But thank you again for joining with us today. And for those of you who are still listening, I want to thank you for joining Harvesting Scholars on our virtual bus tours. We've been doing virtual bus tours all throughout the month of June. If you have any questions about Harvesting Scholars Educational Consulting, you can visit us on the web at www.harvestingscholars.org. And I'm also putting my information in the chat box if you happen to, if you want to text me or call me, I'm here to answer any questions and to help connect you to Ms. Teresa or any of the other admissions counselors that you've spoken to. Thank you again, and I hope you have a good night.